Hello and welcome back to our short two-part module addressing the important topic of a leader's time management. In our first session, we noted that Scripture requires us to use our time wisely and discerningly. We noted Alec Mackenzie's point that we cannot manage time as such, but ourselves in relation to time. We define time management as managing ourselves within the time frame granted to us by God toward biblical priorities, values, and God-given purposes. Then we ask the question, how do we manage ourselves to maximize our use of time? And we looked at an initial 4 principles. Number 1, surrender our time to the Lordship of Jesus. Number 2, budget our time as we do our finances. Number 3, determine our life and leadership priorities. And number 4, plan our time. Let's continue working our way through the list of how to manage ourselves in relation to time. Number 5, plan each day. In his book Time Trap, Alec Mackenzie wrote that planning your day is the single most important piece in the time management puzzle. He added later that a daily plan in writing is the most important time management strategy, yet not one person in 10 does it. One of the best ways to plan a daily schedule is to list everything that we're supposed to do, categorize each activity into broader groupings, prioritize each activity within the category, then assign the category to a certain time of the day. To work out the best time of day to do particular tasks, Mackenzie wrote about the personal energy cycle of the day. In the cycle of every day, there will be times when we are fresh, creative and clear-minded. But there may be other times in the day, normally after lunch or late afternoon for me, when we may not be at our peak. Mackenzie suggests we plot our energy cycle by keeping a detailed record of our time usage for 3 days to a week. Then, after review and reflection on the results, schedule our key tasks for our best working times and work these tasks at the same time each day. The concept is to assign blocks of time for major categories of activities. For example, I am fresh and mentally alert in the morning, so I have my devotional time of prayer, worship and scripture as the first block of the day before I begin my actual work. I then tend to do any activity that requires creativity or clear-minded thought, such as study or strategic planning. After lunch, when my creative juices are depleted, I generally focus on organizational or operational tasks, such as email, appointments, phone calls, or administrative planning. Often, I have one more energy burst, which I usually use to record thoughts, plan the following day, or do some writing or preparation. I endeavor to keep evenings free for my wife or relaxation, with the exception of an occasional hour here or there for the unexpected or urgent. Once you have created your daily plan, please remember to write it down for 2 reasons. First, it'll give you a plan to adhere to each day, and second, it'll help you to be far more organized and maximize your use of time. A suggestion is to assign each activity for the day into one of the 4 following categories, then carry out the appropriate action. Do it now. Move it to the front of the line. Do it later. Move it to the appropriate place. Don't do it. Move it to the waste paper basket. Delegate it. Move it to the appropriate person. Importantly, our use of time shouldn't be measured quantitatively, but qualitatively. The effectiveness of the time we use on each priority is not necessarily measured by how long we spend on it, but the quality of time we spend on it. For example, a busy leader may schedule time for his or her kids, but if they're distracted by other pressures, it won't be qualitative time. The whole idea of planning time is to maximize the moment by being fully engaged and involved in the activity qualitatively. To use our time productively, I would add a few suggestions I've heard from some great leaders. Always allow extra time for every task. Things always take longer than we think, so add about an extra 50%. Expect problems. Motion causes friction, but stay focused on the task at hand. Expect interruptions, but learn to manage them so they don't derail your priorities. Be flexible, not rigid or belligerent, and get ahead when the pressure is off. Doing the right thing is just as important as doing things right. Until we can say no to the unimportant, we will never be able to say yes to the important. Deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. Dr. Howard Hendricks, longtime professor at Dallas Theological Seminary, wrote, "The secret of concentration is elimination." Number 6, avoid time wasting and time wasters. If we are to use our time effectively, we need to minimize, as best we can, those things or people that distract or consume our time. And here are some examples. I've adapted some of Mackenzie's work in his chapter on 20 biggest time wasters and how to cure them. I've categorized them between personal and leadership time wasters and added a few of my own. Let's firstly have a look at personal time wasters. These are things caused by me. Attempting too much, confused about our responsibility or authority, daydreaming, inadequate planning, indecisiveness, ineffective delegation, inability to say no, lack of self-discipline, leaving tasks unfinished, management by crisis, mental worry, paperwork, personal disorganization, procrastination, socializing or social networking, travel, unimportant distractions. Now let's look at leadership time wasters. These are things caused by others. Crises, poor communication, drop-in visitors, inadequate controls and progress reports, inadequate staff, incompetent staff, incomplete information, meetings without an agenda, scheduled or not, poor planning, telephone interruptions. Number 7, don't procrastinate. A 7th and final practical point in disciplining our time is not to procrastinate. Indecision and inaction are still decisions. Decisions to do nothing. Let's do what we need to do within the time allocated. Start the task now. Many people never start a task because they think they won't have time to finish it. Just get started. Wherever possible, work on tasks and activities ahead of time or in quiet times. Plan blocks of time to work on the project. Break large tasks into small ones. Get unpleasant duties out of the way as soon as possible. Seek help from other organized people if you can't do it yourself. Now, before summarizing the module, let me ask, what has been the most important day of your life to date? Now, many of us would possibly answer, well, it was the day I was saved, or it was the day I was married, or even the day my first child was born. Now, all of those answers are valid, but Jesus told us that the most important day of our lives is today. Therefore, let's make our time matter today by disciplining ourselves. It is said of Martin Luther that he only had 2 days on his calendar, today and that day. In a similar vein, Matthew Henry once said, "It ought to be the business of every day to prepare for our final day." To conclude our short module, let's do a brief review. So, in summary, we've seen that Scripture requires us to use our time wisely and discerningly. We noted Alec Mackenzie's point that we cannot manage time as such, but ourselves in relation to time. We define time management as managing ourselves within the time frame granted to us by God toward biblical priorities, values, and God-given purposes. And then we ask the question, how do we manage ourselves to maximize our use of time? Number 1, by surrendering our time to the Lordship of Jesus. Number 2, budgeting our time as we do our finances. Number 3, determining our life and leadership priorities. Number 4, to plan our time. Number 5, to plan each day. Number 6, to avoid time wasting and time wasters. Number 7, don't procrastinate. And remember that today is the most important day of your life, so make the most of it. And that's the end of our short module. I hope it's been helpful and practical. There are many more to come. I look forward to seeing you again, and God bless.